Hi, I'm Owen from Rask Australia. Thanks for tuning in to the Rask Network. Before we get into today's show, there are a few things we have to go over. Firstly, what you're about to hear and see is limited to general information only. It's not personal financial advice like you'd get from a financial planner. Also, it's important to remember that past performance is not indicative of future performance. That means that anything that's happened in the past, or we say today, is not necessarily going to reflect what happens in the future. Lastly, please consider that any of the guests or myself are featuring on this program may have a financial interest in some of the products or shares mentioned. That's enough from me. I hope you enjoyed today's program. Kate Campbell, welcome to this episode of the Australian Finance Podcast.
Wonderful to be back for another episode of our summer series.
Yes, indeed. Special guest, Tashinvests. Tash, how are you?
Good. Stoked to be here.
Yeah, in Melbourne.
Yeah, back again.
Yeah. It's always a pleasure to record in person with you. And there's been a lot going on with you last year. It's great to see that everything that you're doing, the brand, got licensed.
Yes, that was very exciting.
Yes. So big things to come throughout 2023. So it's awesome. And today, Kate, we're talking about savings accounts. We're talking about transaction accounts.
Yep.
Bank accounts.
Yep. All of those stuff that you do in January to refresh what you spent during 2022 and think about maybe your budget for the year ahead. And potentially if you're in the best spending/transaction account, we're having a debate off air about what we should call them, and whether you're in the best savings account and getting the best interest rate for your hard-earned cash.
Yeah, this year is going to be more important than ever because for the first time we enter a new year with decent interest rates. So people can actually shop around now and get pretty good rates on bank accounts, like traditional bank accounts or term deposits or a mortgage, really anything you want to be shopping around right now. And so we're going to mention four banks. No affiliation to Kate or I don't think.
No, I've worked with one of them before, but not now.
Yeah. But I mean, they're pretty good banks. They are regulated, so that's one thing we look for is make sure they're legitimate banks. And you can check that on the ADI website, which is a authorized deposit taking institution website. You can check to see if your bank is covered by a government guarantee of $250K per bank. Kate, where do we start?
I think we should just start before we jump into those names in what we look at when we're just picking a transaction account or a savings account. Like, what would you be looking for, Tash, if someone was thinking about moving to a new account this year?
I used to look for the highest interest rate and the best savings account, I guess. But now I kind of look for something that's easy and makes it really easy to look at and go through and has nice spending reviews and just does like a better user experience. But previously I was all about no fees and highest interest rates and moving around all the time.
So now it's about like the analytics and like the things that help you make better decisions with money?
Yeah, or like just like making it easier, better automation. I can see things straight away. I'm not like adding friction to try and sort out my finances or look at what I'm spending on.
Yeah.
Automation is probably one of my favorite features that some of the newer banks have started to add, where you can instantly split your paycheck or set up transfers to happen once a month or automatically pay your super. Like, I don't know if you still automate your finances?
Yeah. I'm old school. I'm still with ING though.
Yeah.
So I just do the old, like, it's not so much automation, like it doesn't trigger, like if this happens, do that. It's more just like regular in recurring in nature. So every month do this with money, not wait for this to happen, then do that. You know, that's what I have on the investing side with Perla. I have that, but not for the bank accounts. It's pretty simple. Like my life, it used to be really complicated. I used to have like 15.
What was that, Kate?
We were talking the other day about how he had 99 linked offsets to his offset.
Yeah, that's
99 linked transaction accounts to his offset.
Yeah, so they're offset accounts that you can do things with. That was 99. That's with Bank of Melbourne /Westpac /St George, depending on where you're hearing this from. So yeah, that's different. That's purely just for the mortgage. Like, shop around for the best rate on your mortgage. Like, that'll save you a ton of money. But for bank accounts and transaction accounts or spending accounts, depending on what you use, that's all with ING still for me. Who knows? I could be converted to go to Up in time, but right now that's all I need. My financial picture is incredibly simple. So
I definitely made a mess of mine initially, trying to have every single account ever and moving everything around. But now it's getting more simple and it's definitely a lot better.
Yeah.
Do you use separate banks for your spending and your savings?
Yes. yeah, I've got my savings still in Westpac because I used to have such a good interest rate and haven't bothered moving it yet. And then I've still got ANZ as like my main transaction one. And then I've got Up, which I really like for all the different savers as well. So there's still money everywhere, but it's not as bad as it used to be.
Yeah, I'm definitely a fan of simplifying things. Once you've tried everything out and you know where you like to keep your money and your spending in your savings account, it's a good idea to simplify it so you don't have all these accounts floating around.
Yeah. Who do you bank with? We've told you ours, now you tell us yours.
Well, I used to save with Up, but now I use my offset account with CBA because that's who I've got my home loan through.
Very exciting.
Yes.
Oh, my home loan's with Suncorp, so another one there.
A little bit different.
Yeah.
4 banks.
Sorry?
4 banks.
No, sorry, it's not as simple as I thought it was.
It's unraveling. Okay.
The home loan just sits up. I don't touch that.
Yeah, well, I was a big fan of using all those separate savings folders in Up to have one for my Christmas presents and one for gifts and one for education. And I had lots of subfolders. Whereas now that I've put most of the money in my offset and it's all in one account, I think I can explore having some different offset accounts, but it's been different psychologically because I didn't have the money set aside in separate accounts. So I don't think I've liked having all my savings in just one account.
Horses for courses? Yeah, fair enough. I like that. I like having one big savings pot and then just the transaction off to the side.
Yeah.
Like having like the middle ones, you've got your big savings, like an emergency fund or whatever, and then having the more shorter term savings in Up where you can actually see it and like visualize it a little bit better. Because if I can't see it, I just forget it exists sometimes. I got a new credit card actually with a different company and it wasn't linked to my ANZ, and I spent way too much money on that because I couldn't see it the same as my ANZ credit card. So that was a nice highlighting moment to be like, cool, it should all be in front of me so I can see it.
Did you get rid of it, that one?
No, I just set up automatic transfers. So,
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it pays it off automatically now.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, it's interesting. We all do things slightly differently.
Yeah, I get my pay into Up and then that splits a little bit and then I can add to my super from there.
The pay splitting feature is really cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Can you, when you do that, I obviously don't know much about it. When you do that split thing, will that send money to other bank accounts, like outside of Up, or do they try and restrict it to just inside Up?
I've only done it within Up.
Yeah, it's within Up because you can set a percentage or a dollar amount to split that paycheck, but you can also just set that manual transfer that every month on the 1st, $200 goes from Up to your other account.
Okay, interesting.
So a little bit more manual because they're trying to encourage you to spend and save in the same app.
Yeah, right.
Up. So
yeah, cool.
Keeping you all in one spot. But yeah, maybe we should share some of the banks that we...
Sure, I think we've mentioned
we've probably mentioned all of them. But yeah, I guess Up's one of the ones that stands out to me because you can split your paycheck automatically and it really focuses on making you save for things. And I like they introduced their May Buy feature this
year.
Cool.
Awesome, yeah.
Did you go to the launch?
Yeah, I went to the launch of that. That was really cool. Yeah. So definitely a lot better than all the buy now, pay laters out there and really advocating for that. That was awesome.
Yeah, I liked it because like they like save up for what you want and then maybe you'll buy it. But you don't have to buy it. You might change your mind over 6 months as you're saving up for that thing.
I love how it's like you two explaining it to me and I'm like, yes,
yes,
in the middle.
I'm sitting here with my ING.
I will never leave. No matter what you say.
Have you opened an Up account?
No, I've heard it's very easy.
Yeah, and occasionally they
can give you
a free coffee.
Yeah, that's cool.
If you buy a coffee in the morning, sometimes they just say coffee's on us and automatically send you the money.
All the time.
Back.
They gave me $8 for my recent anniversary because I've been with them for like 4 years. They just sent me an $8 gift. It's crazy.
Cool.
Yeah. I just find it easy to transfer because I used to use Beam It a lot to transfer money to friends and family. But now, since most of my friends and family are using Up in some way, we can just use each other's Up usernames to...
Yeah, and you can request money as well. So if someone owes you money, you just send them a little annoying request notification. So that's a really fun feature. And like little GIFs or GIFs or whatever you call them. That's cool too.
Yeah. I just like their focus on encouraging people to save money. And they give you a lot of insights as well. So like I was looking before and in my 2 favorite coffee shops in Melbourne, I've spent over $1,000 on coffee this year, which is when people say...
The different opinions. Wow.
You know when the people that say don't buy a coffee a day and you'll be rich? I mean, if you invested $1,000 every year instead of having the coffee, like you'd probably be a lot better off. But the coffees were enjoyable experiences.
Well, think about how like underperforming you would be mentally. You need that coffee.
Yeah. Podcast would just be a disaster without coffee.
Yeah. We would be asleep at the mic. So I fully back you into spending this money.
Yeah. And And Up's good for using international, so you don't necessarily have to.
Yeah, I used it in Bali recently. Recently in May. Yeah, it was really good. Yeah.
Cool.
It was cheaper than some of the other travel cards as well with their exchange rates, and they didn't charge fees. So that was quite fun.
Did you experiment with a few different cards and see?
Yeah, I had like a Qantas one as well, a travel card, and I had a credit card as well at the time, and I used a few, and it was just interesting to see how they were all quite different in their exchange rates. Because they kind of be like, oh, you have no fees, so we're the best, and then you use it, and it's not really.
Yeah, like just clipping the spread.
Yeah, and if you're moving around a lot of countries, you don't necessarily want to buy hundreds of dollars in each of the currencies. So you can use Up to just transact when you're overseas, and they give you the spot rate.
Yeah, ING also has free ATMs.
One last thing about Up, their budgeting within the app is really cool as well. You can actually set budgeting limits, which a lot of other banks you can't do. So all in one, it's great.
Cool. So Up's a good one for spending. Savings, good. Sometimes you can find better interest rates around. So it's good for the goal setting, but potentially if you're just putting a big pot of your emergency fund, you might want to shop around for interest rates. Do you want to talk about ING now?
Yes, go on.
Sure. Yeah. Originally from the Netherlands.
Really?
There you go. Yeah.
Oh.
Same colour as the Dutch soccer team. And that is it. That's all I've got for you.
Wow, fun facts. And free ATMs overseas.
Free ATMs if you're in.
Well, they rebate the
Netherlands.
ATM fees, don't they? Is that what they do? Yeah.
Yeah, so it's, as you've got here in the notes, Kate, OG Barefoot Reco. So it was it was most well known a few years ago for the Scott Pape connection.
Yeah.
Not that there's any affiliation there, just that he talked about it because it had good interest rates and it had basically no fees. So it was like the original in that sense. It's got everything. It does everything that you would want. So like from a basics perspective, it's got Apple Pay. You can do automated transfers or recurring transfers.
Doesn't everything have Apple Pay these days?
Well, they took a long time to adopt to that.
Okay.
And so ING was one of the first.
Oh.
Yeah. I think ANZ was the very first in Australia. And then
Apple Pay was only working with ANZ for a while, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's because all the big banks didn't want to put it on because it costs, right? So they didn't want to do it. So that's a big thing. But yeah, the app's super easy to use. If you do use the desktop or browser version, again, it's really easy to use. They don't have branches. They've only got like the one place in Sydney, which is all managed from. So that was what originally enabled them to lower the costs compared to everyone else. And they are a big bank globally, so that's why you get a lot of that international.
Can you actually talk to them if they don't have branches?
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
So I found some ANZ is interesting to call, but Up is really cool because you can just message them.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've spoken to the ING team quite a few times because I actually...
Yeah, I believe they have an Australian customer support team.
Yeah, I spoke to them for my mortgage and they're like, well, we can probably approve you just through the app.
Oh, that's cool.
Because they were like, well, I made the application. They're like, oh, yeah, we can see everything. So,
yeah, that's awesome.
They're just like, yeah, we could probably do this like just right now in the app. I didn't end up going with them.
Too easy.
Yeah, but that's what they all push, right? Like,
yeah.
I think you had like CommBank pre-approval within like 48 hours or something.
Yeah. Oh, well, the pre-approval was done, I think, in 2 hours, and I just had to send some paperwork to finalise some of the evidence documents.
Really?
And then
so good.
Once I had signed the contract, the finance was approved really in a few days.
Yeah, whereas a lot of them, like a lot of the big banks in particular, are just like so slow.
Yeah, mine took like 3 weeks to come through as well. But that was in the middle of COVID fun.
Yeah.
Because I was going to use a mortgage broker, but they were just taking a long time. And so I went straight to CBA and it was done so quickly. Yeah,
because they love it when you go direct and not through a broker because the brokers negotiate for the discounts.
Yeah, and I compared rates and things and I was getting the best one for me for what I was getting at the time. So
Cool. Yeah, so ING.
Yep, simple, works.
And you get bonus interest on things if you make a certain number of transactions. You just got to be careful, read the fine print with all this stuff. But
yeah, ING is... When I've been looking throughout 2022, they've had some of the best interest rates around on their savings account. It was just meeting the criteria that was a bit of a hassle.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Do you have to have a minimum spend as well to not pay fees on ING?
Yeah.
Well,
it's like a minimum, I think it's a minimum amount of money coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you have to do a certain number of transactions.
Yeah.
But like you guys talk about emojis for Up. Well, ING is the only one that has a lion. So
a lion. A lion emoji or just a lion?
That's a logo.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, cool.
Yeah. So
what a cool feature. Owen.
Yeah, it has a logo.
That's a great feature.
It's the bare minimum.
Well,
I know another one that's quite popular is Ubank. I've had a look at it. I don't use it personally, but I know a lot of our community do.
A Barefoot thing as well. He talked about Ubank, I'm pretty sure.
Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he talked about it like as a no frills online
Because they
place
don't
to
have
get
a
mortgages.
lion logo.
They don't have a
no
line, so
frills.
they can afford it.
Yeah.
Do you know
Well-
how long it takes to get that line to sit there? And anyway, so
Ubank, well, they bought 86400, which is the neobank, so they've integrated that technology in. So Ubank is now actually very fresh and modern and has heaps of budgeting features and all that cool stuff.
That's
this
cool.
this is totally off direction for the podcast, but why did they call that bank 86400?
I think it was the number of seconds in a day.
Yeah, it's
or
some
a
time thing like that.
week.
Wow.
You're putting me on the spot.
Did you know
here.
that already, Owen?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I did not know that. So,
Let me ask you a fun fact that I know the answer to.
rhetorical questions.
Ah.
So interesting. They often are very competitive on mortgage rates, which is really appealing because you don't get that in-bank cost, basically. It's owned by NAB, which is a feature for some, because then basically what happens if, say, like Bank of Melbourne or St. George is owned by Westpac, if you then go and apply for something else through any of those, they're all kind of under the same umbrella, so it's a bit easier for them.
Yeah, definitely a bit underrated, having everything together and making it a lot easier.
Yeah. And that can also have downfalls. Like some people go with banks that they think aren't affiliated with the other bank they're trying to leave, or like if you have the $250,000 deposit guarantee, that's only per customer per ADI.
Federal Bank, yeah.
Yeah, so in this case, I think they might be split out, but maybe not. So that the way you check this is you go to that website, the deposit guarantee, and you make sure that Ubank and NAB would be on there. But if it's only NAB, then it's only through that like affiliated network of NAB banks. Yeah, so that's just something to keep in mind.
Yeah, interesting. When I have over $250,000 in cash.
Yeah,
Problems
you
for
don't?
sale.
Future problems.
Yeah, that was actually I think it was 500,000 or $1 million during the GFC when everyone was really scared. The government stepped it up and said, we will back even more of these banks for more money, just so people wouldn't switch and break up their money and try and put it in different banks and all that sort of stuff. And then over time, it progressively came back down as like the dust settled a bit and people weren't as scared.
I feel like 250 is pretty generous limit.
That's a lot of cash to have.
I mean, if it's going to go broke and you've got 500,000, it's probably going to go broke even if you have 250. Like it doesn't, like it's just a psychological number, I guess. And it's just say,
we need to have
we got
trust,
you.
trust in the banking system. Here you go. Yeah.
Don't go and pull your money out. It'll still be there tomorrow.
Don't
Okay,
put it
yeah.
under the mattress.
Yeah.
Don't bury it in the backyard. I've heard that one a few
My
times.
grandma, who survived the Holocaust, used to bury cash in jars in the backyard. So I'd be
Really?
like in the veggie patch when I was a kid helping her like dig up things and just be like random jars of money.
My grandma has online banking now and she shows me her interest rates and she's pretty excited about it. She's
Oh,
like,
cool.
look at all the interest I earn.
Nice.
Yay.
Got her on
Nice.
got her on online banking. Mine's past the point of online banking, but she did like to hide $100 notes in clothing and shoes. So
Yeah.
when you're tidying up her stuff, you find things everywhere.
My grandma likes to do kind of the point hack stuff. So she sent me Qantas points for my birthday.
You have a very savvy grandma.
Yeah, my grandparents are doing very well. My
They
granddad
must
still
be
works and everything.
under 90.
Like in their 80s. My granddad's 85.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, he's a structural engineer and still designs cranes. So
Awesome.
they're doing quite
At
well.
85.
So
wow.
good.
Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah,
Wow.
Brain's
Great.
still firing.
yeah. Just don't
Well,
quit your job. Just keep going.
Yeah, it probably helps. Yeah, well, it does. There's actually studies that link,
Yeah.
as you'd know. There's studies that link like mental health and things like Alzheimer's to gainful employment. Yeah, so that's a big reason to keep working after 65. Even if you're retired, do something.
There you go. Fun fact for the
There you
day.
go. This is now a medical podcast, Australian medical podcast. We're
You know
all-
the fun of the director ID everyone had to set up?
Yeah.
He couldn't do it because he was too old and he had to call the ATO because the birthday only went to like 1940 or something. And he was like, I can't do it.
That's
Sometimes.
great.
So it needs to be more accessible, I think, the
Yeah.
ATO.
Come on, ATO.
Yeah.
They listen to this podcast.
Some hint, you're not being very inclusive.
Yeah. Okay. So
All right. And the final one we've got on our list for today is CommBank, which is one that most listeners will have heard of, the Commonwealth Bank of Australia, CBA. We did an episode in 2022 on CBA. We looked
I
at
emailed CBA the other day. Thank you to the media relations team. Very lovely, but very politely let me down that we could not have Matt, who's the CEO, come on the podcast.
That is devastating.
I know. I wrote such a good pitch and I was like, come on, Matt.
What did you say? What were the reasons?
Well, I even said one thing. I was like trying to draw connections. Like when you try and land the big fish, you're like, it's cool. We're on the same level kind of thing. Anyway, I emailed because I was actually on Sky Business and he was on Sky Business in the same segment. So I was
Oh,
like,
wow.
we were on it together.
We're pretty much the same. You
We're
just come
pretty
in.
much like bro.
We'll come to your office. We'll be there.
Yeah, just why don't you come to us? Actually, take some time out of your day.
Yeah.
You might have like 16 million customers, but I mean, come on.
We'll buy you grilled for lunch, so it'll be even.
Yeah, that's it.
Like
Australian
Owen's totally a
finance podcast.
$180 billion market cap company.
Yeah, that's it. Like, just get around it. Didn't happen,
No.
but
All right.
we're watching
Maybe in
you,
the future,
CBA.
once we grow
Yeah.
a bit more.
Maybe next year.
Maybe next year.
2024 goals.
Yeah.
But I've used CBA, Combank a lot more in the past. I've used Comsec quite a bit in the past because I had the Dolomites account, so it was kind of just a natural progression, which is what they want out of you. But I've used it because I had the home loan with CBA and I got that last year. I've been using their accounts a lot more because just setting up your mortgage repayments out of the offset, and I just kind of set up all my bills to go out of the offset. They have quite good features with like spending predictions and knowing how much you've spent, and you can kind of see your entire net worth picture in one spot. So, and they've also got a lot of in-app rewards and benefits. So it does encourage you to shop
pretty good stuff.
in the app. So potentially you don't want that because they're starting to personalize it. So I was getting certain offers for shops I'd spent money at recently pop
that's
up like
interesting.
10%, 15% discount. So it'll be interesting to see what they do because they're integrating a lot of things into their marketplace. They're trying to build out sort of a marketplace where you can get, like when I got the home, they're like, we can also hook you up with our partner to get your internet and phone plans set up, and you can get your electricity at a discount and all those things that they're integrating.
I have a CBA account as well because I used to have Comsec and things like that. And I had a business account with them for a little while.
Is that 5 or 6 now?
It's too many now. But I don't use it. I don't actively use it anymore.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just contradicting myself a lot here. I had to try every bank ever, or how can I recommend things?
Well, that's it. Fair enough. Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the silver donut's good for that as well, being Macquarie.
The silver donut.
Yeah, it's the logo. It's the silver donut.
Yeah.
Welcome to Logos with Owen.
No, we pointed it out when we did the Macquarie review episode last year and people liked that.
Yeah, it's looks like a silver donut.
I can't picture it right now.
I'll get it up on the
It's
computer.
black and then there's a silver
Donut.
shape on top of it and it says Macquarie.
I just Googled silver donut. Why did I Google?
Macquarie's had some really good interest rates
Why
on their
doesn't Google know what you
savings accounts as well recently.
Yeah, I have seen that pop up.
Yeah, Macquarie's good. I'd say Macquarie's similar to ING in the fact that it's really simple, it works.
So it doesn't look like silver here, but in person it looks silver. And it's because, Kate...
It doesn't look like a donut at all. It just looks like a circle.
Oh, we wrote it all down. It was about like the coin and they cut it out to make 2 coins. So there's more currency.
Yeah, so this is the coin here. You can see, Tash, and we might have to put this on the screen for folks watching Monique. But this coin, they bought coins, I think it was from Spain. They brought coins over to create currency in Australia. I think this was when we're moving away from gold.
Yeah.
And they didn't have enough of these coins. So what they did is they just cut a little coin out of the big coin so they could have 2, one with a hole in it and one little one.
Yeah.
And so
like
that's how
it.
they
That's
created the
awesome.
currency. And so that's where Macquarie gets its logo from.
I love when you look at a logo, you're like, oh, it's a circle. And then you hear the story behind it and you're like, wow, that was really thoughtful.
Yeah,
The holy dollar.
that
Yeah.
actually makes sense all of a sudden.
What? Yeah.
The universe.
You
yeah,
just pick the circle?
yeah. Well, that's so this, back to the silver
I'd say-
donut marketplace.
Yeah, but I'd say the one thing about CBA is they have been pushing like through the app and through emails. I'm getting emails about getting personal loans, credit cards.
Yeah, I've gotten personal loans as well, which
using
is
their
great.
buy now, pay later service, which
Yeah.
is if you don't want that stuff getting pushed on you, if you're in a place where you might take it up or something like that, I'd say potentially
Go to
not.
Up, maybe.
Using a bank, but who knows? Up might add. They added home loans.
Listen,
loans, but
every
not-
bank could be expected to do this.
Yeah.
I don't like the advertising though. It's like, hey, do you want a personal loan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
ING car insurance. Hello.
Yeah. Car insurance is okay. Everyone
Yeah.
needs car insurance, but not everyone needs.
But they get you through. This is the rule of thumb. If you already have one thing with the bank, you can almost bet that the thing that they're trying to sell you is not as good of a deal as you could get elsewhere.
Yeah.
So they play on this thing called loyalty tax, right?
Yeah,
Or
they're just
inertia.
pushing their buy now, pay later
Ooh,
affiliated service quite
Ooh.
hard. Like they're giving you a big
nah.
offer to sign up, which I don't really want to be sold something through my banking app.
Yeah, I don't want it to be easier to get a personal loan that you don't really need and you're
Yeah.
just being suggested.
And I've got it in the browser and via email and on the app.
Yeah.
Like just click here and you can get $8,000 or whatever
Yeah,
right now.
just quick, easy, done. No,
Which is probably my only issue right now with
You can get
CBA.
a platinum card with a lion on it with cashback rewards. Wow.
Hmm. Wow.
So
How to get Owen to sign up?
different bank accounts. We've talked about Up. We've talked about UBank, Combank, ING Bank, even Macquarie Bank. You've mentioned a few other names. ANZ?
Yeah, ANZ, Suncorp,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've mentioned a lot.
Yeah.
all of them.
So I think just having a look where your money currently is, maybe spending the time this month to do a bit of a bank account, saving account audit and finding out where your accounts are, tracking down any lost money, because a lot of people just have a bank account lying around with maybe $1,000 in that they've kind of lost track of because they've opened different accounts. So seeing if you can do any consolidation this month and make sure you're in a high interest savings account and using a transaction account that actually serves you.
A transaction account. Have you
Whoa,
been converted?
Converted her away from
Yeah.
spending account. So interestingly, if you're going to do
you
this,
spend money.
yeah, but
feel
you
like
transact.
I'm transacting with a seller, but I'm spending the money. So I'm calling it a spending account.
Maybe we'll have to poll Instagram and see.
Yeah,
okay.
transaction or spending.
Because
you
the
decide.
next,
Let the people speak.
because our activity for listeners is to do a spending review.
Yeah, interesting. But we're not saying doing a savings review.
Okay, next. Moving on.
So basically, I think that January is the best time of year to kind of just rip the Band-Aid off. If you're thinking about doing this, do it now. Like, do it at the start of the year. Start fresh. Do it. It's not going to be perfect. Get a new bank account. Cut up your old card so that subscriptions and all that stuff stop operating. Get rid
Cutting
of
up the card stops your subscriptions.
Well,
You actually have to go and
Yeah, cancel it, cut it up, whatever.
That's what makes some people make. They just cut up the credit card and don't actually cancel it.
So
Yeah,
they
so
go
that's
into like
hard.
overdraft or whatever.
Yeah. So just definitely cancel it then.
Yes.
But now it could be a great time to transition to a new bank if that's what you're thinking about, because then you can start the year afresh and you can kind of have a blank canvas to begin. Like you guys just said, you can still have direct debits and stuff, so you may need to cancel all those with your old bank. You can, if you're old school like me, you can actually request a report from your current bank to see what has already been set up, a list of everything that's already been set up.
Request a report.
Yeah, so you can do it, I think, via the app where you get like a list of all ongoing direct debits.
Okay.
So it actually shows you a list rather than say you're trying to guess like what things you've signed up for and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
it will
that's
show
cool.
you. And so you can just go and cancel them if you want to. And obviously cancelling the card and requesting a new one actually triggers like those emails from XYZ website that's like, hey, we noticed your card declined or whatever. So it gives you a chance to refresh that as well.
Yeah. I think it's important not to overthink it too, because you could spend 6 months trying to find a
Yeah.
tiny little bit more interest rate, which I was doing ages ago, I guess. So just pick one, go with it. You can always change.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like all the banks that we recommended, or not recommended, but referenced, they're all Australian, like regulated banks. They're all like, if you want to change, you can. There's no like rule against that.
You can just open one of everything. It's fine.
Yeah, I think both of you have been on that journey. I
Yeah.
definitely didn't go on that journey, but it seems both of you went on that.
I was definitely chasing interest rates for a while.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, now it probably makes more sense because there's more interest
Yeah, no,
available.
I can't be bothered.
So yeah.
So look at your spending from 2022, go through and try and figure out your rough monthly spending in each category, and then you can use this to inform how you want to spend during this year and what
How should people look at their spending though? Just sit there and stare at their transactions?
Oh.
Oh.
Well, if you're using a bank like Up or CBA, they might have auto-categorized everything
Yeah.
for you, so you can look at how much do you spend on groceries on average each month and figure it out that way. Or you could do it old school and print out 3 months of
Yeah.
your
I
transactions.
definitely like to print and have it in paper.
Yeah,
and
you're a
highlight
highlighter
stuff.
person.
Yeah. Then also being able to add stuff in a spreadsheet is quite nice too. So bit of everything.
And if you go into the online version, most banks will let you download an Excel version of your spending.
One of the things that is really helpful is just getting that and then being like, oh, does this and this line up? We've actually got a link that people can follow in your podcast player to do this exercise, and it's a graphic and stuff. It's really simple. It can be quite revealing though. Like honestly, especially if you find out you spend $1,000 on coffee, you'll be the in-house barista going forward, I think, in the office. But yeah, they can be quite scary. So as Tash said, and I kind of referenced is just do it. Like just do it.
Yeah.
And then just get it done. Like it's
Or just do a small bit. Like you don't have to sit down and look at a whole year of spending. I know that can
Yeah.
be very overwhelming. Just start now.
Yeah, just look at the things and be like, what's happened in the last week or two, and just be like, okay, I can maybe
Yeah.
change those two things.
I definitely got your breaths 3 times this week. Why did I do that? How
Yeah.
do we move on going forward? Yeah.
Yeah, and you want to see that what you're spending each month, is that more or less than what your income is each month? Because that will give you a good starting point to whether you have spare money to save and invest, or whether you're potentially going backwards and using debt or your savings to live each month.
Yeah, it's pretty pretty straightforward.
Really making sure you're spending in line with your values as well, because we can sit down and look and be like, yes, I spent $1,000 on coffees, but I think those coffees probably brought you lots of joy.
Yeah. I mean, going forward, I probably wouldn't change it that much.
Yeah.
Maybe slightly less, but I probably won't change much of my spending on
get
coffees.
Coffee with friends or coffee at work, and
Yeah, I'd rather cut my spending in other areas if I had to go through and look at everything than cut spending on things like coffee and going out with friends.
Yeah. Experiences. I love spending on experiences.
Yeah, definitely same. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think there's a problem with that. I think coffees get the raw end of the bargain.
Yeah, they're easy to hate on.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, it's $5.
Whereas if I go and look how much I've spent on books in the past 12 months, that's a lot more than I've spent on coffees.
That's a terrible thing. Such a terrible... I'm sure everyone's like, Kate's saying books?
I've spent a lot of money on books.
But I
and library fines?
Other people are thinking about weekends and what they do at night.
Yes.
Kate's like, those darn books.
Yeah.
They're just too good.
Yeah. So sometimes you might go, I've spent a lot of money in this place, but I'm quite happy with that.
Yeah, I'm still meeting my goals. It's aligning with what I want. I'm happy with it.
And sometimes you might just go, well, I'm going to increase my income and I'm going to work on negotiating a pay rise this year or getting a side hustle or renting out a spare room instead of focusing on trying to minimize my spending as much as
I
possible.
feel like there's so much focus on that, cutting out the $5 coffees rather than just making $5 extra a day. So,
Yeah. There are so many activities you can do. You'll find links in the show notes to workbooks and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah, and we go through a lot of what we've talked about today in more detail in our banking and budgeting Rask road trip course that we made with Tash. So that's free. You can get started with that this month, and we have a heap of other free courses on Rask Education if you haven't already signed up, and there's a workbook that you can go through and do a spending and saving review as well.
Yeah, super simple. Tash was the genius behind all of this. You can complete them in less than one sitting, these courses. That's what they're designed for.
Wow, so much fun. No, it's actually really cool. It's a good time.
No, it is great. Yeah, so you'll find links to that in the show notes.
I mean, 2023 is a fantastic time to take control of your finances.
Yes.
Anytime is a fantastic time.
Anytime. You'll get confidence. You'll feel empowered. You can do all those wonderful things that you wanted to do.
Yeah, but it will be hard.
Appreciate them. Yeah,
hard and then great.
Hard and then great.
Yeah.
You'll appreciate the good things
Slow
more.
burn. There we go.
Slow. But it compounds. It gets better. It gets better. And money grows. Tash, people, if they wanted to get more involved in what you're creating and what you're doing, where would they find you?
I'm on Instagram and TikTok at Tashinvests, and I share lots of random fun things, so you can come hang out there.
Yeah, cool. Sweet. And hopefully we'll see you on the road in 2023.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
We'd love to catch up again and to do things together and help spread the word of, financial literacy and help people understand their money, their finances, and just lifestyle as well. So
yeah, very exciting.
Yeah, it's our pleasure to have you back in the studio. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
And Kate, as always, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for listening, everyone.